of a... How did this happen in my town? God damn it!
The head and limbs were severed and lined up, according to the lines that were drawn with her blood. Just like migratory birds flying systematically across the sky. Hey, Zach, what do you think this means?
They're severed roots.
Severed roots?
This is the way the Clarksons kill someone when they want to cut him off from the family.
And how do you know about this?
Everyone in town knows about it. They're just too scared to talk.
What does the V stand for, then?
Beats me. What, you think I know everything now?
Vilitatio. It means quarrel in Latin. That's what the V stands for.
Latin. Intriguing, isn't it, Zach? There are no defense wounds on the corpse. In other words, Galena showed no signs of resistance when she was amputated. But, strangely enough, there are small traces of subcutaneous bleeding around the wounded areas. That's a vital reaction, which means she couldn't have been dead.
You mean...
Yes, that's right, Patty. Galena was amputated while she was still alive, and she never resisted.
Is that even possible?
It certainly isn't impossible. For example, if she was put to sleep with a drug, or if she desired the amputation herself.
Why would she ever desire that?
Mr. York, I'm sorry, but there ain't no way that could have happened.
How can you be sure of that, Melvin? Our world contains phenomena that could never be explained with logic. This is especially true for phenomena in which humans are involved. Do you really think all the facets of love and hate can be explained with logic?
Well, no, I don't reckon I do. Yeah, might be too early to rule out those possibilities, just like you say.
Zach, now we truly know just how deeply the Clarksons are involved with this. Patty, how long does it take to reach the Clarkson estate?
Just a short drive. You just gotta head west along the Mississippi. You can't miss it.
Got it. Thank you, Patty. By the way, Melvin, no matter how accelerated Patty may be, don't you think she's still a bit too young to see something like this? For the record, I have no intent to instruct others on how to raise their children, but...
Holy moly, you're right! Patricia, CLG! Come on, sweetie. Kids shouldn't have to see stuff like this.
Daddy, it's too late now.
You sure you okay, CLG?
I'm fine. Besides, I'm used to seeing stuff like that on CSI. You're the one who looks pale, Daddy.
Well, it did shake me up a little, but I'll be back to normal in no time. Sorry about that, Mr. York. What say we rest in the interrogation room till we all calm down, CLG?
Sure thing, Daddy. I'm gonna go sit with Daddy for a bit, Agent York. We can join back up later.
Galena killed her daughter, so her family cut ties with her. Do you really think that's what happened here, Zach? If this is truly the ritual that the Clarksons use to cut ties with someone, why would they go out of their way to do it here, in a holding cell? They could have easily done it after we released her. And judging from how Danny Clarkson was acting, I think it's clear that he really loved Galena. How could he accept this grotesque butchering, even if it was for the sake of the family? There's no point in ruminating on this. We should get back to the investigation. As long as we keep moving, the answer will inevitably fling itself straight at us.
You found the flying serpent. But now, the flying serpent will come to find you.
Yeah, that sounds right. And it looks like this flying serpent is a venomous one.
Some become feasts, while others are eaten alive. Which fate would you prefer?
Both sound marvelous, but let me check with Zach.
A fine answer. Find the one who fired the pistol at heaven. Within the white hall of beds, brandish the ticket to the goddess. And once again, you will see the other world. Do you comprehend the oracle?
Zach, it looks like he's hell-bent on leading us back into that other world.
Follow the oracle.
Oh, I will, Hungan. There are only two types of things in our world. Things that should be resisted and things that should be accepted. And I believe this oracle is something to accept. Do you think we're crazy for believing everything that skeletal gentleman says? No, we're not crazy. Not one bit. This is our destiny, that's all. But I shouldn't need to explain that to you, Zach. The one who fired the pistol at heaven. Firing pistols at the sky might be a rather common occurrence for the South. Remember? Young Guns, 1988, directed by Christopher Kane. There's that great scene where Emilio Estevez keeps firing his Colt M1877 up at the sky. Well, but that film took place in New Mexico, didn't it? And the Oracle probably isn't referring to a situation like that. It's got to be for some purpose other than an attack or a threat. Raising a pistol up to the sky, then slowly pulling the trigger, kind of sounds like the start to a race. Don't you agree, Zach? Bingo, Zach. We're currently running a race here. And the one who started this murder investigation is indeed the one who fired the pistol at heaven. In other words, the person who first discovered the body. According to the files, Lisa's body was discovered by Chuck Thompson, a crawfish farmer. He apparently works out of a fishing hut located in the marshes south of the bayou. Let's go pay him a visit. Who knows? We might even get to see some crawfish. What? Why isn't the murderer the one who started this race? Zach, this isn't like you. Of course the murderer isn't the one who started the race. The murderer's running it. They're currently in first place, and they're breaking all the rules. Any more objections, Zach? Within the White Hall of Beds. This one is even easier. There are only a few establishments that have a whole hall's worth of beds, especially in a small town like this. I'm sure you've already got a pretty good idea about what the answer is, Zach. Beds all lined up. Only an amateur would hear that and think it must be referring to a brothel. I mean, come on. Who would ever use White Hall as a symbol for a bordello? No, a white house refers to the same place no matter what country you're in. Disinfectant, jars of medicine, and white smocks. That's right. It's a place where people dress in all white. And this town doesn't have any labs in it, which means there can only be one answer. You never disappoint me, Zach. It's a medical facility. They invite their patients into rooms full of beds where they're tended to by doctors and nurses clad in white. It's definitely a white hall, where people are invited into beds. You always manage to impress me with your intuition. I'm really counting on you here, Zach, and I know I'll always be able to.
Agent York, you're trying to leave without your trustworthy assistant?
Hello there, Patty. I'd never attempt such a thing. I was simply engaging in a battle of wits with Hoongan while I waited for you.
Hoongan?
Yes, the skeletal gentleman in the top hat.
Not that story again. Is this how you always conduct your investigations?
This is the way I work.
I bet you can't find a single partner, not even in the entire FBI.
That's not true. I always work together with Zach.
Oh, right. Zach. Don't worry. I'll be your partner while you're here in our town. Now, let's go investigate.
How's your mama? So, you're that hotshot FBI agent I keep hearing about.
And who might you be?
I came to claim the body of my daughter. My daughter, who was murdered in a holding cell after you detained her yesterday.
Zach, I wasn't expecting to run into the final boss this early. You must be the head of the Clarkson family, P.J. Clarkson. And you've come to claim the body of Galena Clarkson, whose dismembered corpse was found early this morning. Is that correct? Where did you learn that Galena had been murdered? Zach and I just learned of the news ourselves.
This is Lou Corey. And I am P.J. Clarkson. There ain't a single thing I don't know about this town.
I see. So then you must also know about the severed roots ritual. I have a question for you, Philip. We suspect that Galena was murdered by someone from the Clarkson family. Have you given that possibility any consideration?
Listen up, you FBI piece of shit. You better watch your manners around my pa.
Shut up, Daniel.
But, sir... My bad, sir.
I'll have you know I once had 3 children. But I must not have raised them very well, because my son and my eldest daughter both ran away and never came back to me. The only one who stayed by my side was my second daughter, Galena. Then she done married Daniel here into the family and presented me with both an heir and a granddaughter. Seemed for a while as if things were finally starting to calm down. But then, someone corrupted both Galena and Lise. And I lost everything. Well, aside from my shit-heel son-in-law, that is. You understand me, FBI?
Galena's death is nothing but a loss for the Clarkson family.
That doesn't mean the Clarksons are automatically innocent, though. Humans don't always act out of self-interest, do they?
That mouth. You're starting to sound more and more like your mother. We're leaving, Daniel.
What? But my treasure...
Now, whether you end up being an angel or a demon, I reckon you're the man I've been waiting for all this time. Once you finish that autopsy, and we're clear to take her home, I want you to give me a call.
They're phenomenal, Patty. So perfectly rural. Ominous statements, foul-mouthed insults. This town possesses a complicated system of communication that you just can't find in the city. Work-centric emails are so cold and lifeless. This is what true human connections feel like. Connections as visceral as blood itself.
So, Agent York, what's next on your agenda?
The last boss may have gotten the jump on us, Patty, but I didn't let him shake my resolve. I intend to obey the skeletal gentleman's oracles, and that's that. First, we should head to either the home of the person who discovered Lisa's body or to the town's medical facility. Well, Zach, what do you think? It really seemed like you knew who Galena Clarkson was.
Well, I've never actually talked to her, but it's a small town. Pretty much all folks know who the Clarksons are, and Galena's supposed to be extra scary compared to the rest of them. Back when we saw her in town, I felt like she was glaring right at me, so I got real scared. No one will come out and say it, but I'm pretty sure they're all relieved that she was the killer. We're lucky the killer ended up being a member of the Clarkson family. Otherwise, the whole town would have turned into a battlefield.
You've got a point, but did everyone really hate her that much?
They didn't hate her. She hated them. She had this real peculiar way of treating people. I don't know how to describe it.
Contemptful?
Yeah, I guess that's it. She never opened up to anyone in town.
She was rich, beautiful, and wanted to become an actress. So she went to a metropolitan city to refine herself. There's always a chance that people like her may develop prejudices towards those who stay in the countryside. A big chance, even. But just because a person has prejudices doesn't mean they'll go out and murder people. That's where my doubt lies. Was there any sort of omen which made people happy that she was the killer instead of someone else?
I'm just telling you how I feel. How am I supposed to know if everyone else in town felt the same way? I never thought she'd actually go and kill her own daughter, though.
There it is, Zach. It appears that her attempt to kill me wasn't simply a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Maybe she was sad.
Sad? Perhaps. Instead of returning as a star, she was forced to come home after her dreams were crushed. That certainly sounds like a sad story, doesn't it, Zach?
No, Agent York, not that kind of sad. The kind of sadness that keeps folks away, hidden behind her attitude. Is there a word for that? Maybe it ain't in her attitude or her words, but the way she appears. Yeah, it's in her eyes. They remind me of someone.
Who? PJ Clarkson?
No, someone else. I can't remember.
That's okay, Patty. Just let me know if you happen to recall it later. Until then, Zach and I will help you think.
So, Mr. York, what do you think of my castle? Pretty cool, ain't it?
I've been curious about it since the first time I saw it. You've got excellent taste, Melvin.
I dub it Lou Crawfish. I'll have you know, crawfish is pretty much its own food group in this town. Since this store carries all the bare necessities you'll need for daily life, I reckon it was an apt name. If it's sundries you're looking for, there ain't much you won't find here. You ever need anything? You just come on by, Mr. York.
You're not only the sheriff of this town, you also manage a general store.
Sure, as long as you ring this bell here.
That's terribly convenient, Melvin. But I have one concern. What if a crime occurs while you're managing the store? Running a business and keeping the peace, both jobs require immediate response in times of crisis. I just can't see how it would be possible.
It's actually pretty easy, Mr. York.
But what if a criminal who just robbed a bank came here on his way home and bought up all your stock?
Oh, I like the sound of that. You want to make me rich? Hey, how about you just buy up the whole store while you're at it? I'll never let money stand in my way. It's not the boss of me, for I am the last shopaholic. Ooh, I'm funny.
Melvin, that was a serious question.
Really? Huh, could have fooled me. Not even the Clarksons would do something that crazy. No point in preparing for something that'll never happen, right? After all, this is Lucare, the tiny forgotten town in the middle of southern nowhere.
Get it, Zach? It's Occam's razor to a T. Melvin, I have to say you're a very balanced man. Now I feel confident that the Woods household will do just fine, even if you end up losing your job as town sheriff.
You sure are a joker, Mr. York.
This is a vast country, incredibly vast. And it's mostly composed of mountains, deserts, and farmland, with small towns scattered about here and there. That's how America looks to me. Compared to the scale of this entire country, New York, Chicago, and LA are all microscopic. Sometimes they even feel like figments of my imagination. Think back to what Las Vegas looked like when we were driving on I-15. It was a mirage. TV and movies dress up those mirages and broadcast them to people all around the world. Meanwhile, American women become fascinated by the gorgeous city lights and are drawn toward those illusions. The very same women who were chosen as prom queens in their small towns. In the end, all they find are ghosts. Once their eyes adjust to that blinding light, they realize there's nothing but vanity and lust surrounding them. They finally figure out that it was all in their heads. Then they quickly try to satisfy themselves with something else. Drugs. And drugs are the gateway to a whole pantheon of crime. Zach, remember what you told me once? The women who turn to crime aren't the evil ones. The drugs aren't evil either. They're nothing but chemicals. The ones who feed off those women and use them. They're the ones to hate. Let's go, Zach. We need to find the person who's hiding behind Galena and drag them out into the blazing southern sun. Has a symbol. It's got to be that bridge hanging over the bayou. Lift bridges are truly a rarity. Reminds me of Duluth, Minnesota. Hey, want to talk about bridges? Why? I've become obsessed with bridges, Zach, and there's no turning back now. Remember what we... Okay, Zach. It's time to put our skills to the test. Well, Zach, it seems as if we've reached an impasse. I'm afraid we won't be able to proceed any further like this.
Lucari Tiger to DC Eagle? Is everything alright?
Hello, Melvin. Sadly, my darling just gave out on me.
Your darling? You mean...
Yes, that's right. My beloved Skateboard. I know the chances are slim, but do you happen to know of any establishments in town that can repair skateboards? Please, I hope this doesn't offend you. Neither Zach nor I would ever dare to assume that a remote country town like this would have a skateboard shop in it. But perhaps you have at least one eccentric who likes to tinker with them in their spare time.
I know just the person. Double bass player by night, trick master by day. God blessed her with 2 talents, and her name is Emma Sanders.
Emma?
That's right. She's Pastor Sanders' adopted daughter, and was also Lise Clarkson's best friend. Emma really knows her stuff. She's got tools and a mountain of parts, so I'm sure she'll be able to help.
I owe you one, Melvin. Zach, I never thought we'd find our very own skateboard mentor out here in the sticks. Let's head straight to Emma. What is it, Zach? Why didn't I just ask the sheriff to tow away the old cars? But isn't it obvious? I want to overcome this obstacle using my own strength. In fact, I want to soar over it. You didn't even twitch when you saw Galena's body.
Why would I? Dead things can't hurt us, right?
Girls your age don't usually think that way.
Do you have kids, Agent York?
No, I don't. I'm not married either.
Then you have no idea how girls my age usually think. Besides, I'm used to seeing dead bodies thanks to CSI, especially dismembered corpses like hers. You know, for a so-called profiling professional, you're pretty clueless.
In that case, allow me to apologize. But don't you think it's a bit of a leap to discount my observational abilities simply because corpses don't scare you?
I don't know. I mean, you're completely wrong.
Do you know what I was thinking back there then?
Of course not. I'm not a pro.
The same goes for me, Patty. No manner of pro could ever know 100% of what another person is thinking, unless, of course, that pro has a mental connection with them, like Zach and I have. If I was telepathic, I wouldn't have joined the FBI. I would have taken over a small country or become a messiah.
Now who's making crazy leaps?
I will admit, though, Patty, I feel like you and I have something in common. We definitely have similarities, even though they aren't as strong as the ones that Zach and I share.
Whatever.
Perhaps you and I grew up under similar circumstances. We're both unique cases.
Huh? Unique cases?
In your case, your beautiful mother's second husband became your daddy, but then your mama got sick, forcing you to take care of things, while you used CSI as your escape.
Would you just knock it off? I ain't trying to act like some tragic heroine here. And I don't care that my daddy isn't the same color as me. You're way more narrow-minded than I took you for, Agent York.
Narrow-minded? You're just realizing this now? Of course I'm narrow-minded. I'm a selfish man who lives life according to his own rules, with no interest in common sense. Naturally, this makes me terrible at reading situations, and I often end up angering people by total accident. But is it really that big of a problem? I've still made a contribution to society by solving numerous difficult cases, and I'm still terribly charming. And I'm still terribly charming.
You and I have absolutely nothing in common. What kind of circumstances does a kid even need to end up like you?
Try asking Zach. It's not my place to answer that one.
You again?
Hey, Agent York. I feel like someone's in there. Let's go and see.
Huh? What do y'all want? I'm kinda busy here.
Hi there. Are you Emma?
Yeah, who are you?
Francis York Morgan. I'm an FBI special agent. Please call me York. That's what everyone calls me.
Agent York? So, what does the FBI want with little old me? I already told the police everything I know about Lise.
Emma, I haven't come here to talk to you about Lise. Although I suppose it's sort of connected in a way. My darling is broken, and I need you to fix her.
You call your board your darling? I never heard that one before. All right, let me see it. I'll try and assess the damage. I've replaced all your trucks, wheels, and gave you some brand new deck tape. Also, you were missing a tail guard, so I put one on for you. That way you should be able to do a few tricks here and there without any risk of damage. Well, what do you think?
It's beautiful, Emma.
The wheels were scraped down and the base plate screws were all about to fall out. Oh, and the axles were also warped. It was pretty much in critical condition. Now, what I want to know is, how did it get that way?
Well, my car was stolen on my way here from Houston. So, I switched over to my darling and rode her here instead.
You know, you're crazier than you look.
Emma, would you mind answering another crazy question for me? I want to use this board to soar, literally. Would you mind teaching me a trick that would allow me to do so?
You mean you want to do a wally? Ooh, well, I'd be happy to teach you how, but it's too cramped in here. Oh, I know where we should go. You want to learn too? You sure? Seems like you're interested. Whatever. I know you're just gonna come along anyway. So you should at least learn the basics. Okay, Agent York. Now we should have enough room to practice. I'll show you how it's done first, then you just practice till you learn how to do it, okay?
What else have you seen on that sci-fi movie channel?
Agent York, why are you asking me that?
Discussing movies is one of the most basic forms of communication in our country.
What time period do you live in?
It's always been that way in every era. In this country, all dialogues always begin from films.
Ugh, says who? You're making me sick.
Sick?
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna puke.
I know just what you need to do, Patty.
What?
Tell me what other movies you've seen on that sci-fi channel.
Ugh, you're so annoying. Fine. I saw this one movie where a pretty lady and an old guy fight, and they were both robots.
Ah, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. 2003, directed by Jonathan Mostow. I knew you were an Arnold S. fan.
Oh, you said it again. Oh, whatever. I'm not a fan of his or anything, okay? He just happened to be in it.
So, what did you think?
I knew of the name Terminator, but it was my first time seeing one of those movies.
What? You've never seen Terminator?
Well, the first two came out before I was even born.
I know, but come on. It's Terminator.
Boys probably like it, but I'm sure most girls don't give two craps about it. Oh, but I know it was directed by the same person who did Titanic.
Titanic? Oh, you mean Raise the Titanic. 1980, directed by Jerry Jameson. But he didn't direct Terminator. He's famous for Airport 77 and The Deadly Tower. You probably know this already, but The Deadly Tower was based on the 1966 Texas Tower Sniper incident. I learned about it at the FBI Academy in Quantico. In the film, Kurt Russell plays Charles Joseph Whitman, the assailant. He really brought the character to life with an awe-inspiring performance. What's wrong, Patty? I'm just trying to talk about Terminator 3, that movie you saw, but you're not paying any attention. So be it. If you're not in the mood to talk, then let's return to the investigation. It's a shame, though. We really wanted to hear more about the films you saw, didn't we, Zach?
Was perfect!
Yeah. Thank you, Emma. I only learned that new trick thanks to your guidance. Now I'm sure that Zach and I will be able to reach our destination without any trouble at all. Thank you for assisting in the investigation.
Glad to be of service. if your board breaks again or you feel like customizing it a bit more, just stop on by my workshop. I'm pretty much always there during the day. I'm also taking some time off school because of what happened with Lise. Skating and playing music are the only things that help me escape the pain of losing her.
Zach, did you see the expression on her face just now? She works hard to act cheerful, but she's yet another person who was hurt by the tragedy. Lisa's death is like wildfire, spreading embers of sadness throughout the entire town. One lollipop, two lollipops, three lollipops. Don't mind me, Zach. This is how I wake myself up. This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here, to protect this peace. Isn't that right, Zach? This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here, to protect this peace. Isn't that right, Zach? Did you notice it yet? The streets in New Orleans were a mess, all busted up and undergoing maintenance. The city was built on a swamp, so the ground is soft. All it takes is some heavy rain to cave it all in. There were also a lot of places where Hey, Zach. No, nothing. Just felt like saying that. Lollipops, three lollipops. Don't mind me, Zach. This is how I wake myself up.
Gonna be another hot one today.
Yeah.